Okay, so our next question now is looking at write an account. So you'll always get this, write an account on how events in, and ours is on the Hungary, so how events in Hungary became an international crisis during 1956. 8 marks, 10 minutes, roughly 2 paragraphs. Now, this question's quite an interesting one actually, because it's not just describe, it's not just writing an account, it's talking about how events became an international crisis. So therefore, we are looking for cause and consequence here. So what happened and what was the impact of those events that happened? So, because ours is on Hungary, what we need to think about is we need to explain what the Hungary crisis was and do that very briefly as an introductory sentence. So that's when you talk about what the date was, what leader it was. You then need to say why the Hungarians chose to rise up then. What allowed them to rise up at this point? So, when doing this, we need to think about, for example, the whole idea that they were under Soviet control. However, what they had was they did non-communist parties had all been abolished. So you can imagine that's getting some people quite riled up at this point in time. No other political parties are allowed. They were led, we say, by hardline communist called Rakosi. He was really strict on following Soviet orders. So that is the first part. So we are explaining why Hungarians chose to rise up. Now we need to think about why then? Why rise then? What was it about that particular point in time? So if you remember, there was the death of Stalin, that very nasty man, and with that, this brought about what we say more liberal, or they hoped for a more liberal Soviet under Khrushchev. That very lovely happy man holding the corn. Remember those photos? Now, what we need to know is that it was their time and that he would allow change. And the reason why we think about this is because he was about, de-Stalinization. If you remember those things. So it's this idea about how he was trying to de-Stalinize everything. Okay, so that's your first part. That is your cause. So that could be put into one paragraph. I appreciate that I've written quite far on that one. However, that would be one paragraph. Then, I'll move on to this page for this one. We need to think about our consequence. So it's that part of the question, international crisis. So what is it about this making it an international crisis? And when they're saying that, they're basically saying, why did the Hungarian crisis help contribute to our Cold War? That's what it's asking us to do. So we need to think about our consequences. So what actually happened here? Well, if you remember, Khrushchev actually invaded. So he invades and he suppresses our protest. And that was when 3,000 Hungarians capital H, and 8,000 Russians died. That's a hell of a lot of people dying. So they all died. As well as that, they replaced the man that led it, Nagy. They replaced him with someone called Kadar. And then they started reversing the reforms that Nagy tried to put in place. Now, the importance of this is our analysis skill, our top level skill here. It showed that Khrushchev, I'm going to write it like that because it's quicker for now, was unwilling to